Hiya, welcome back to our videos. Today I'm focusing on doing these beams and ceilings. What I've done is I've prepped the video as you saw, prepped the room like you saw in the last video, and I've just done a mix up. The biggest tip I've worked out so far, and nobody seems to have mentioned it, only mix enough that you think you're going to use, but at the same time you need to make sure that what you've mixed is enough, because you don't want to stop halfway through the surface and have to go back and do another mix, because by the time you've done the mix and come back, it's gone off enough and you end up with horrible edges. So I've got a mixture of tools, but I've always used a slightly smaller 9-inch trowel or float, and I just feel comfortable with that. I also have a couple of different gauge trowels. Again, this one here is a 290, I think it was 299 from B&Q, and it works perfectly for me. So I think what we're going to do now is crack on and get the plaster on the bottom halves or the bottoms of these beams, and then we'll work in the middle. So when I'm loading up the hawk, I always put my trowel in between me middle finger and the last two of my fingers, with my index finger over the top of it and my thumb wrapped around the stalk of the hawk. That just gives me something nice to hold on to. When I'm storing the gauge trowel, I'll just place it on the side of the bucket with this on the edge. So we'll just load up, and again, you don't want to put so much on your hawk that A, it's uncomfortable to use, and B, it's too heavy for you, okay? And I do apologise if there are any noises that come off of this whilst doing it that people don't like. So I'm going to start down this end and get on with it. I'm hoping that you can see. I know I'm quite far away, and even myself, like I've said before, I'm not a professional, not when it comes to plastering. My trade is painting and decorating and upholstery, and I'm actually an interior designer. But I'm somebody who likes to get involved and do the actual work as well. So every time I have to put it on, I go back, making sure I put it nice and level. And all I'm worried about at the moment is getting a coat on the beam and keeping the corner beads nice and clean. Okay. And the material I'm using here is made by Make Good, and they call it a multi-finish. This is not a gypsum product, but I'm having to use it because we had about 17 bags of it, and we're now down to the last 4 and a half bags, last 4.5 bags. And then you're on the which should do this room, and then we're on to the multi-finish. Would I use this again? No. think you'll find that a lot of the pros have been complaining about it as well. But with the COVID and lockdown, we've kind of had no choice. Now, if you're somebody who's looking at this and thinking to themselves, you know, I've not done plastering before, but I want to have a go, have a go. But don't go thinking, oh, I'm going to take on that ceiling. It's not going to happen. You're going to end up with, like I just did, with plaster on the floor, like I've got down here. Start with a small wall or a small area, and what I mean by that is something like a chimney breast with no angles, etc. And I'll be honest, this bedroom here I've been putting off for a number of weeks because of the amount of angles that are up here. It's been kind of daunting me. So, oh, and there we go, another one off. Okay. Don't be afraid to pick up one of the small trowels and just knock it off if you see it. As long as, when you're doing it, you can't, like so. Try not to do what I've just done. I'm afraid, although Zoe's quite good at being behind the camera, she doesn't like being in front of it. I don't know why. Maybe she'll get a bit more confidence later. But I need Zoe to be doing, you know, other things other than filming when we're doing this, because I've only got until Christmas to get all this lot sorted. Okay. But like I said, on something like this,
the second single from Mim's
Alexa, stop. On something like this, you can be a bit more fussy because it's a smaller area. You're going to whip through it quite quickly. But on a large area, as you'll see in a few moments when I'm doing this surface here, this one here, it's a bigger surface. You need to get it on as quick as possible. But I'll run through that later. Would I buy this Make Good stuff again? I don't know if I've mentioned it, but no, I wouldn't. Can't stand using it. It doesn't leave a good surface. And if anybody says it does, well, come here and show me how to bloody do it. Or use it. Right, I'm getting towards the end here, and then I'll be moving on to that one whilst this one dries. This one takes a bit. Before I can do the next coat, can you just check the bag? Is it 20 minutes? Right, so I've got 20 minutes in which then to 20 minutes for the next to be able to put the next coat on, so I can do this surface quite happily. But I wanted to get the beams out of the way so that I can then concentrate and do something else then. But we always start up the top and work down. Might even have to make another mix up to do the other beam, so right. Clean it up, the edges. And come down this edge and do the same thing. I'll just run down it with my finger. I know I'm going to be out of the camera shot a few times, but okay, what I'm going to do now is try out for the first time the time lapse from Another tip I want to give you: between every mix that you do, you need to clean your tools. Cleanliness in dealing with plaster is next to godly. I have a bucket here for cleaning my tools. I have another bucket that is purely for clean water for mixing. I then have another bucket that a clean bucket that I stand my mixing paddles in, and then I have one that I mix my my plaster in, and that gets cleaned like Zoe's just been down to clean it now. So I'm just going to do that, but you won't want to watch me do that. So first coat on ceiling, or on this section of ceiling, and I've just finished doing the second coat on the two undersides of the beams. I've got to wait now 20 minutes for this to go off completely, and in the weather today, with the weather where it is today, and I don't think it's very hot, although I've stripped down because I've been moving, it might take slightly longer, and then we'll go over, flatten it, and then leave it 60 minutes, and then we'll give it a good polish. So I've got to wait 10 more minutes, I think, for this ceiling to go off, and then I can get the second coat on there. I might have a look and see if I can get it on sooner than that, because I've got a bucket here that's about to go off, as you know, with some in, but we'll see. So yeah, actually thinking about it. Yeah.
Couldn't you do this?
No, there's not enough of it to do that. Zoe's just asking me if I could do the piece over by the door, but there's not enough in the bucket to do it. And it would take me probably 30 minutes to do it.
What about this side of the space?
Yeah, that's not a bad idea actually. I'll have a go and see whether or not I can. But I know that this isn't fully gone off, you see. So yeah, I'm going to have a go and do what Zoe's just asked. I might have to move you. In fact, I will have to move you so you can see this. Okay, but I've cleaned all my tools, and I don't know how much of it will have been picked up in the time lapse. I haven't seen it. I've just been getting on with this. But you know, you have to clean your tools all the time. Another big tip is make sure you've got a tea towel of some sort to dry the tools, because they do go rusty really quickly. And I found that especially with these, they call themselves forged steel. I'm not impressed with them, but I suppose money speaks. I mean, this one here, which is the 14 inch, was about £14, whereas the OX that I'm using, my little 9 inch or medium 9 inch, that was £29, nearly 30 quid. But actually, in terms of the handle, it's so much more comfortable. They seem to really have thought about the handle design on it, and I'll just bring it a bit closer. It's a bit thicker than the forged steel, and actually I've been finding that when I was using this, because I've got a 9 inch version of this, but I've completely and utterly wrecked it, so it's just for floors now. I was ending up with blisters on my hands by the end of the day, and I don't know whether or not that's because I'm constantly going in and out of the water, cleaning the tools, or if it was actually the handles. So anyway, before this bucket goes off, I'll have to stop talking. I'm going to move you and have a little drink of water, then I'll get to the side of this beam done. Right.